Alright, so this guy sat over the weekend. We're gonna pull up this heater core hose. I got the clamp off of it already. And just like I figured, there's gonna be air in the line, but there's barely any coolant in here. And that's pretty freaking disgusting. So it's been breaking up a lot of stuff in there already with the evaporust, but gag, gross. So the plan is we're gonna install one of these. These basically are going to, it's gonna work as a bleed screw as well slash flush kit. So we just got to find out which one is the right size. This one's too small. Bam. Okay, so we got this one here, and this will just run into this hose and then put this here. Hopefully we won't have to trim it. We'll probably have to trim it a little bit, but nothing too crazy there. So let's get some hoses for it. All right, so I had a hell of a time doing that by myself. When I removed the lower hose, it started losing coolant. Shocking, no surprise there. So I had to trim the hoses down with one hand while plugging the other one with my other hand. So definitely not fun, but we know the bleeder is working because when now that I'm adding water back into it, you can see that we get fluid coming out of there now. So that definitely shows that that's working. And it also, again, it also doubles up as our our flush valve now. So definitely all good. The stuff that came out of it though was really disgusting. So you can see, like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's actually like what came out of the car. So it's got like a nice little disgusting brown smell slash color to it, but that is done. We're gonna go ahead and start cleaning up our tools real quick here, and then we'll fire this thing up. All right, so we got the fan running. The fans are running. We got the heater on hot, and we got a little bit of water in here, and we're just gonna let it run. And if everything goes well, hopefully that heater core's bled out and we shouldn't overheat anymore. Hopefully, that's the hope anyways. So I don't think this temp gauge is accurate. The reason why I say that is because it comes up to temp really quickly. Like I started this thing up and it hasn't been running for more than like 2 minutes now, and the temperature is already a third of the way up. So I'm going to verify it with the ECU, but I'm going to just let it get up to temp first, and then we'll go from there. But right now the heater is cold, so let me crank this up a little bit here. Yeah, so the heater is cranked up, and it doesn't feel, it feels room temp. It doesn't feel hotter than normal, and you can see that the temp gauge is already going up past half, or almost at half rather. So I'm going to turn this back down, turn the blower motor back down, and just let it run. Alright, so the temp gauge does in fact read goofy. So the ECU, the laptop, was reading about 99 Fahrenheit, which I think works out to like 205-ish, I think. And it definitely was reading like 3/4 of the way. The next thing is that the heat now is slightly better. There are times when I rev it up and it starts to lose heat, but it's not as bad. The other day, like, I would rev it up and it would go like completely cold. So now it's staying lukewarm. That tells me that we still got an air bubble that's working back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this thing cool down. I'm just going to let it completely cool down, and then I'm going to crack open our little bleeder valve again, and then see if we can get a little bit more air out of it. I should have wired up the fans really quick because I was just tired of them not cycling like they were supposed to, and I think that's the reason why it wasn't bleeding out correctly, because the coolant was just staying too cold. So I went ahead and I just stripped it really quick, and then I just tapped them in just to get the ECU to turn the fan on and off. And then I also raised up the temperature on when the cooling fans come on as well, to try to help aid the temperature coming up and the thermostat opening. And when I did all that stuff, that's when the temperature actually started to get like a nice bit warm. It's still not perfect, but it's definitely getting there. And as you can see, this stuff is like extremely disgusting. So remember, this was all tap water plus the Thermocure, and I've actually lost quite a bit of it from it either boiling over or when I was messing around with that stuff back there. So I've lost a good bit of it, but I mean, this stuff just looks, ugh. So yeah, I'm just gonna let it cool down, and then I'm gonna crack open that valve, and hopefully we can get some type of air out of that. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Another thing that I can do that I really do not want to do is that I can actually force, I can actually hook up a garden hose to that end now, and then I can kind of force water into it, but that's not what I want to do. It's just too much work, we've already got a gross mess on our hands, and it's only going to get worse. So I'd much rather not do it that way. So again, we're just going to let this thing cool down. We'll go back once it cools down, we'll go crack that open, and hopefully we get some air out of the line. In the meantime, I'm just going to start cleaning up my tools. So I went ahead and cracked the line off, and I don't think there's any air in the line. The reason is that when I opened that up, fluid came coming out of it, and so there was fluid in here obviously, and I let it kind of drain down into the radiator rather. And this is actually what's left in the funnel here. So it's pretty gross. As you can see, there's lots of contaminants in it. I mean, this is straight sludge is what this is. So you can see it's pretty thick and disgusting, but it's breaking down. And the crazy thing about it is that the funnel was actually at this ridge right here, full of fluid. And you can see that this is all residual gross stuff out of the cooling system here. So it is pretty damn disgusting. So the Thermocure is definitely doing its job. I mean, this stuff is disgusting, and that's what it's supposed to look like. I really think that just the heater core is like clogged maybe. Which would make sense, because if there's a ton of rust in the system, that's going to be like that. Now, we're supposed to leave this stuff in for a couple days here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of use electric tape and tape these up to isolate them, just to make sure that that's good. And then I'm just going to come out here after, you know, every day basically, and let it run and idle for a couple hours, and then shut it off, and then rinse and repeat. We're going to do that probably off and on for a week, I think. And then once we do all that, we can finally flush the system. So I think that's really it for now, guys, and I will keep you guys updated to let you know what's all going on with this.
The next day.
Yeah. So we got the bash bar here from Z1. We talked about modifying the stock one, but the amount of money it costs to buy this, it's far cheaper. Like, we would have spent way more time cutting this up and boxing it than just buying this. It's given us quite a bit of room here, as you guys can see. So hopefully the new with the new bar, the intercooler should fit. On a side note though, I didn't tighten up the lower radiator hose obviously, and that's what that stuff is looking like that's hitting the ground here. And just as a reminder, this used to be water, so pretty gross.